Hello, welcome everybody. I am Brandon, and we got a buttload of news to talk about today. Like I said, we got a lot to go through today. I didn't have enough to do like one big story, but we got a lot of smaller stories here. Everything from Nintendo just randomly shutting down the Wii and the DSi storefronts, to PlayStation acquiring another studio, and more. On another episode of Game Corner. Thanks for watching, everybody. If you like what I do, please like the video. Subscribe to the channel if you'd like to see more, and I'll stop wasting your time. So first things first, we got CD Projekt Red confirming that there is a new Witcher game currently in development. It looks like it's going to be using Unreal Engine 5, so they are going to be moving away from their reddening engine that they've been using way back since like The Witcher 2, I want to say. And while that is actually a pretty impressive engine, it's kind of dated at this point, so I imagine a pretty big technical leap and mechanical leap are to come in the new game. With the announcement, we did get this teaser image with the text just reading, "A new saga begins." And then there's a statement right under that just saying, "Kicking off a new saga for the franchise and a new technology partnership with Epic Games." There's no release date timeline for this yet, so I wouldn't expect this for a long time now. Probably not till like mid-late 2020s, I'd say. But they did, however, just confirm this morning that it's not going to be a sequel to The Witcher 3, so we're not getting like The Witcher 4 exactly. It's going to be maybe like a spin-off or kind of a continuation of somebody else's story, perhaps. I definitely wouldn't be surprised if we saw like a new character, or maybe even they brought Ciri in as like the main character or something like that. Obviously the poster shows that Witcher medallion in the snow, so I would definitely expect some sort of like new setting and maybe even like a new Witcher school or something like that. It's all up for speculation at this point, so of course take everything I'm saying with a grain of salt. That being said, it definitely sounds like they're kind of wanting to move this in some sort of new direction, using a new engine, kind of maybe even using new characters, settings, etc. Anyway, I'll keep you guys up to date with any more Witcher news I get, but that's about all we have for now. Next up, we got the Overwatch 2 PvP closed beta coming up here really soon now. The closed beta actually starts on April 26th, and you can go opt into the beta over on playoverwatch.com. I, of course, opted into that because I'm a pretty big Overwatch fan. That being said, I'm very skeptical about what this game even is going to be, or how good it's going to be, or even really why it exists in the first place. We have very little information about this game other than new maps, new character, a couple new modes, and they're changing it to be 5v5 instead of 6v6. That being said, this is one of the first things we've heard about the game since Jeff Kaplan left the team, and obviously we've had all these issues over at Activision Blizzard. So I'm definitely pretty wary to get back into a Blizzard game, especially being Overwatch. It's something that means a lot to me, and I just feel like they either really need to do this right or they're gonna fall right on their face again. Sounds like the new beta is only going to cover the PvP portion of the game, so all of the PvE, which is kind of the big selling aspect of Overwatch 2, isn't going to be there for anybody to consume quite yet. And yeah, like I said, that really leaves one big question, and that's if this is going to end up bringing Overwatch back or not. And I'm really skeptical about whether or not it's going to. Even though it hasn't been very long yet, we haven't really seen a lot of changes come out of Activision Blizzard yet. I imagine it's going to be kind of a long haul till we see anything real come out of that company, especially since they just got acquired and they're not even removing Bobby Kotick until the beginning of next year. So while I am going to give this game a shot because that's kind of my job to do on the show, I do want to mention that I don't feel entirely comfortable buying this game when it comes out based on all the sexual harassment charges and other stuff going on over at Activision Blizzard. So next up, Fortnite removes building from the game. You heard right. In Fortnite Chapter 3 Season 2, they're not only adding new characters like Doctor Strange and even letting you pilot your own battle bus, but they are removing building from the game almost entirely. For all you builders out there, don't worry, you will still be able to build in the game. You just have to go to like creative mode, and I want to say there's a couple other modes that are also going to have it too. But for the most part, they're removing building from the base game, and then they're kind of going to be adding a couple mechanics in there to fill the gaps. They're giving everybody an overshield like you have in Halo, so it'll recharge after a certain amount of time, and they're also allowing you to like climb onto stuff, and they're changing how the sprint mechanics work a little bit. Of course, there's a reason inside the game that everyone can't build anymore. It's very Fortnite of them to kind of tie that into the story, and I have to admit, this interests me quite a bit. I don't really play a lot of Fortnite, maybe here and there every once in a while, and the building has always been something that's really turned me off to the game. I know there's a lot of people who really like that part of the game, and it kind of separates it from other battle royales, but the fact is, a lot of the time you just ended up seeing like people build bases all up around you, and unless you wanted to get better at the building meta or just get lucky, then there's not really much you could do when someone just skyscrapers above you. So while I haven't hopped into Fortnite for quite some time now, I do think I'm going to end up downloading this and at least giving it a go. Let me know if you guys are going to get into that, and maybe we could play some games online. Hit me up. Alright, one of the bigger stories today is PlayStation is acquiring Haven Studios. They're a Montreal indie-based studio who opened about a year ago, give or take, and they're headed up by Jade Raymond. She's really well known for being a co-creator of Assassin's Creed and Watch Dogs. And since then, she's actually even worked for Google over on Stadia, and now she's kind of getting into doing this Haven Entertainment thing with PlayStation. This is kind of an odd acquisition when it comes to PlayStation compared to other acquisitions, because they usually kind of take time and release games with these companies and then eventually acquire them, like Naughty Dog. But something about Haven Entertainment Studios they must have really liked, so they just bought them up straight away. It does sound like they have an unannounced IP in the works right now, so they are currently working on a game, but they haven't actually officially released anything yet. And over on GameIndustry.biz, Herman Hulse said this about it. "You're right, we could have just carried out in the capacity of them being an external development partner. But what Haven has created is so exciting for us. There was just a desire to deepen that relationship. We have been very impressed with how Haven is coming together. It's just easier for us to invest in the team and game more deeply this way. It is a testament to the fact we've been very impressed with the progress that Haven has made. They're actually exceeding a lot of the plans, including in terms of time, which very rarely happen in game development, let me tell you. So we thought, let's invest deeply and do this properly." If you guys remember, a little while back, Sony actually acquired Bungie and put a bunch of money into doing live service games, and I think this is kind of a fallout of that. They're kind of continuing to put money into live service games. But yeah, whatever multiplayer experience they showed to Herman Hulst and PlayStation must have really sold them over, because I can't believe they just immediately bought them up and this soon, honestly. Anyway, we don't really have much more news out of them. They are an indie studio, so I'd expect to maybe hear that in the next year or two, maybe even sooner if we're lucky. For now, we don't really have any information on what the game is or anything like that, other than that it's a live service multiplayer game. Next up, the Nintendo Wii and DSi shops apparently have just been offline for days and nobody knows why. For some mysterious reason, out of nowhere, Nintendo just apparently shut off the storefronts for the Wii and DSi without telling anyone about it, and it's just been offline for days now, and we still haven't heard anything from them. Obviously, since we haven't heard anything from Nintendo and none of us can access the storefront, we're all just sort of sitting around speculating why this is happening and what it could mean. I would say that this is just routine server maintenance, except you haven't been able to buy new games on the Wii and the DSi storefronts for quite some time now. So I sort of have a feeling this is kind of Nintendo's way of ripping the band-aid off and being like, no more. Obviously, this has angered quite a few people, especially not having any word from Nintendo on what's going on here. And the plot thickens when we found out that their servers are actually still online. It's just that they've ripped the access from the storefronts on the Wii and the DSi, because you can actually still use third-party tools like the NUS downloader to download all your Wii and 3DI games. We actually were just recently told that the 3DS and the Wii U storefronts are going to be taken offline here in the next year or so, so unfortunately I do think this is just the natural progression of things. After so long, they do start taking these servers offline, which means you can't download your games anymore, can't buy new games anymore, and it sort of just traps a bunch of games that were only on those consoles forever. I actually did a video on this a while ago, so if you want some more information on that, go ahead and click up here. That all being said, this is pretty shitty of Nintendo to just rip this away without telling anybody or even giving anybody time to, download those things before this went away. But like I said, I think it was just time for them to rip that band-aid off, and that's just sort of what Nintendo does. Last but not least, we got Ghostwire Tokyo reviews in. The game is doing okay. It's getting about 7/8, give or take, which is admittedly what I sort of expected out of the game. Honestly, not too bad for Tango Studios' first game, and even then, this isn't a bad score by any means. I actually said in a previous video that I absolutely adore the setting and the enemy design, and I really think the particle effects and the hand animations look stunning. That being said, I have been sort of mid-hyped on this game compared to other titles. I definitely didn't think it was going to be getting like Elden Ring scores or anything like that, but it is the first game out of Tango Gameworks, and Shinji Mikami, yo. Anyway, it looks interesting enough for me to pick up. I was curious if you guys were going to pick it up this weekend. I think this and Tiny Tina's Wonderland is coming out, so leave it in the comments down below. Seems like the big gripes are kind of the simplistic combat and the narrative just not quite coming together for some early reviewers. But overall, I'm a total sucker for modern Japanese settings, so I'll probably end up picking up and doing a stream for you guys this weekend. Anyway, that's about all the news I had to share with you guys today on another episode of News Roundup. Whoosh. We went through quite a few stories here, including Overwatch 2 PvP closed beta, Haven Studios being acquired by Sony, the Nintendo Wii and 3DS storefronts just being down for some unknown reason, Fortnite just removing one of their core elements from the game, and A new Witcher game is going to be coming out at the later end of this decade. Anyway, I'm Brandon. This was Game Corner. Thanks for watching, and have a kick-ass week.